You ever been to Hawaii? She asked, tossing her new silk blouse into the suitcase like it had been planned for months. I was leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, trying not to look like I was inventorying every item she packed. Not since college, I said. You? Nope. But apparently I'm about to. Jessica bailed, so now I'm going solo. Some leadership summit. All expenses paid. Swear I told you. She hadn't. Not once. We'd been married 7 years. I knew how she packed for a work trip. Black slacks, one backup blazer, a book she never opened. This time? 3 dresses, 2 bikinis, heels I'd never seen, and a perfume she'd only ever worn on anniversaries. She kept smiling through it. Breezy. Casual. Like a woman who'd been rehearsing the story too long to stumble. Leadership summit, huh? I said. Companies finally branching out to the islands? Client relationship retreat. Vision casting, beach bonding, that sort of thing. They've got a guest speaker from Salesforce or Spotify or something. I don't know. She zipped the suitcase and rolled it to the door. I noticed she'd bought a new phone charger, not a replacement. An extra. And when I kissed her goodbye, I felt her tense up just slightly. Like guilt. Or fear. Or maybe anticipation. She landed at 4:17 p.m. local time. By 5:12 p.m., she'd posted her first Instagram story. Oceanfront suite, 2 glasses of champagne, captioned. Work can be paradise. I replied to the story with a calm hand emoji. She left me on read. That night, I pulled up her company's website. No mention of Hawaii. No news release. No employee events listed past Q1. Then I checked the staff directory. The name she mentioned, the one who was supposedly organizing it all, didn't exist. At least not in any official capacity. I Googled the name with the company, then tried LinkedIn. What popped up wasn't a conference. It was a timeshare brochure. Same hotel she tagged. Same conference room she filmed in her second story. Except this version of the summit wasn't work-related. It was a wellness retreat co-hosted by a startup CEO from the Bay Area. His name rang a bell. So I searched her Instagram for his handle. And there it was. She'd been liking his posts for 6 months. Motivational quotes. Shirtless paddleboarding. Crypto guru nonsense. And she'd commented on more than one. Dream lifestyle. Manifesting this energy. That's when I knew. This wasn't work. This was curated. Rehearsed. Staged. She didn't lie to me because she had to. She lied because the truth didn't fit the brand she was building. By the second day of her so-called business trip, I had a private browser open on one screen and her Instagram story running on the other. Every post looked like it belonged in a travel agency brochure. Ocean sunrise. Poolside breakfast. Spa hallway with candles lining the walls. But there was one thing consistent across every story. 2 of everything. 2 glasses on the nightstand. 2 plates at the dinner table. 2 towels on the lounge chair. The captions made it sound like a solo journey, taking time to reset, deep dive with the self, work hard, breathe harder. But her angles weren't accidental. She was cropping someone out. Or trying to. The first rail slip happened that afternoon. She posted a boomerang from the beach, just waves, sun, and her tan legs in a chaise lounge. But when she panned up too fast, I caught it. A man's foot, bare, tan, stepping across the sand toward her. She deleted the story 30 minutes later. Too late. I already screen recorded it. Later that night, she posted a dinner clip, lobster tails, wine glasses, soft jazz in the background. This time, the camera swung past a mirrored wall. That's when I saw it again. The same man. Not his face. But his shirt. Dark blue, floral print. A watch on his wrist. And his hand resting on the table. Next to hers. I paused the video, screenshot it. Zoomed in. There it was, the same watch from the paddleboarding influencer she'd been following for months. His account was still public. I pulled it up. And right there, posted an hour earlier. The exact same lobster plate. Same garnish. Same lighting. He hadn't tagged her. She hadn't tagged him. But they were 2 angles of the same scene. I didn't confront her. Didn't call. Didn't even blink. Instead, I opened a folder on my desktop and titled it Hawaii, Proof. I dropped the screenshots in. Made subfolders. Organized everything by time, location, and platform. This wasn't about catching her. Not anymore. This was about building a timeline so airtight, it couldn't be talked around. I wasn't planning a fight. I was preparing a presentation. I didn't realize how far back the trail started until I started replaying the little things. At the time, it all felt disconnected. harmless. But looking back, it was as if she was quietly building a version of herself I didn't recognize and never questioned. It began with the gym. Out of nowhere, she started going 5 days a week. Said it helped her stress. But she didn't sweat in the cheap tees anymore. She bought matching workout sets, high-end leggings, crop tops, designer water bottles that cost more than a week's groceries. I joked about it once. You opening a boutique fitness blog I don't know about? She smirked. Can a woman just want to feel good? Of course she could. But that wasn't it. Then came the hair. She'd always kept it simple, practical, low maintenance. But one Friday, she came home with sun-kissed balayage, soft curls, and professionally done nails. I complimented her. She brushed it off. New quarter, new me. We were halfway through March. The next week, she upgraded her phone. She claimed the old one had been lagging. What I didn't notice until later was that the new one never left her hand. Not at dinner. Not in the car. Not even when she went to the bathroom. It was always face down, always silent. And the password changed from a simple swipe code to something long, alphanumeric. Then one day, I found the second charger, hidden in her makeup bag. Why do you have two? Backup, she said without missing a beat. You never know when a battery dies. I didn't push. Didn't want to seem paranoid. But the way she said it, that smooth, throwaway confidence, that wasn't how she used to lie. That was rehearsed. And her wardrobe? Swapped out piece by piece. Work blazers traded for breezy linen. Neutral tones replaced by colors I hadn't seen her wear since her honeymoon. And then there was the new swimsuit, tags still on, hidden under her yoga gear. Not a one-piece. Not for business. Something bought for an audience. Not a pool. The night before she left, I offered to drive her to the airport. She said no. Uber's easier. You'll be stuck in traffic. And besides, it's not like I'm going to war. Doesn't feel like work, either. She gave me a look. Too fast. Too sharp. Then softened it. It's just a few days. You'll barely notice I'm gone. And then she kissed me, but not like she used to. It wasn't goodbye. It wasn't stay safe. It was staged. A gesture meant to be seen. One for the memory, not the moment. I watched her roll her suitcase out the front door, designer shades on, cab waiting. She didn't look back. And right then, I didn't feel like a husband seeing his wife off to work. I felt like a man being edited out of the story. The morning after her first round of sunset posts, I decided to stop being subtle. I'd already collected enough inconsistencies to fill a folder, but I wanted something final. Concrete. Corporate. I pulled up her company's website. Basic layout. Buzzword heavy. You know the type, mission statements that say nothing, glossy headshots, a careers page with no actual openings. But nowhere, not one mention, was there a Hawaii location. No satellite office. No regional reps. Nothing. I clicked through the events section. They had a staff retreat in Denver back in January. A strategy workshop in Chicago last fall. But the current calendar was empty past February. No upcoming conferences. No client-facing events. No sign of the so-called leadership summit she'd mentioned when she zipped that suitcase closed. So I did what she never imagined I would. I called. Receptionist picked up, bright, bubbly, fake. I asked for her manager by name. Can I ask who's calling? Just a friend trying to send her a package. She's traveling, right? In Hawaii. Hawaii. Pause. No. I think she's in Phoenix this week for some partner meetings. Want me to forward you to her cell? No thanks. That answers my question. Click. I sat back in the chair and opened Instagram. She'd posted again. This time a clip of her stretching on a balcony, yoga mat laid out, ocean roaring behind her. Caption read, starting the day with gratitude and strategy. What strategy? What team? Even her reflection in the balcony glass showed only one person on the mat next to her, a man, again, shirtless, holding a coconut water bottle. Not her coworkers, not even her industry. So I pulled the metadata from the clip, rough, not perfect, but I got a timestamp and a geoping. She wasn't staying in some modest business class hotel. She was at the Halia Kai Private Residences, a luxury oceanfront resort that didn't host conferences, didn't have meeting rooms, didn't allow corporate groups. It was adults only, couples only. And then I remembered something else she said before she left. They've got this speaker from Salesforce or Spotify or something. Vague. Disposable. So I searched the resort name alongside leadership, strategy, and summit. What popped up? A brochure. Not from her company. From a wellness brand startup out of San Francisco called Lumigrowth. slick branding, high-ticket retreats, slogans like realign, reclaim, rewire. And right on the first page, a week-long couples intensive. Couples, not corporate, not client-based, not anything that could be sold as a tax write-off. I dug deeper, found their co-founder's name, Jason Moore, ran it through Instagram, public profile, influencer energy, smug grin, abs, obviously. And in his most recent post, posted within the hour, he was sipping an espresso on a balcony that looked suspiciously familiar. Same railing, same chair, same folded blue yoga mat. I zoomed in. There, on the table behind him, was a book. A hardcover copy of The Power of Now. And next to it, a phone with a floral case I'd seen before. Hers. She wasn't attending a summit. She was on a luxury wellness retreat with a man she'd been following for half a year. A man who'd already posted more evidence than she had. And her company? Had no idea where she was. I already knew his name. Jason Moore. Wellness startup founder. Wannabe philosopher with abs and a six-figure social media following. I wasn't looking for confirmation anymore. I was looking for proof that couldn't be argued with. Evidence that didn't just show she was cheating, but that she'd built her alibi on the wreckage of our life. And what I found, she wasn't just on vacation with him. She was working for him. The first real nail was buried in a clip she posted that afternoon. A slow pan of their breakfast setup, smoothie bowls, coconut water, protein bars arranged like a product shoot. Her caption? Something hollow and sugary. Morning fuel for a full heart and a full schedule. But right there, tagged halfway down the caption, was the brand. At Elevate Plus Hydration. Jason's company. His logo. His product line. Not a soft tag. Not casual. A deliberate marketing tag. I checked. She'd never tagged them before. Not in her personal posts, not in her story highlights, not even in saved drafts. This wasn't a slip. It was a signal. I scrolled back to Jason's latest story, and there it was again. Same breakfast table. Same drink lineup. Different angle, but matching timestamp. His caption was worse. Building with someone who gets it. No tag. Just implication. But I didn't need a tag. I had everything else. Then I went further. I opened the shared Google Drive folder we hadn't touched since our last vacation. She probably thought I'd forgotten it existed. Inside it, a PDF. Titled Luma Growth Retreat NDA. 2 pages long. Legally binding. Digitally signed. Her name. His company. Date. 3 weeks before she left. She wasn't attending the retreat. She was part of the program. Likely getting paid. Maybe not much, affiliate link, promo code cut, whatever. But she'd agreed to represent him and his brand under an NDA that explicitly prohibited disclosure to non-approved outside parties. Like her husband. And then came the reflection. She posted a video later that night, clinking wine glasses on a balcony. The caption talked about connecting with future-minded clients. But in the reflection on the glass door behind her, you could see Jason. Not clearly, just enough. Holding her hand. His mouth near her ear. She didn't notice the angle. Didn't realize her sunglasses were tilted just enough to catch him walking in shirtless, towel slung over one shoulder. All of it recorded. All of it timestamped. All of it added to the drive labeled, Hawaii, final. I wasn't watching to catch her anymore. That moment had passed. I was collecting like a forensic accountant. Not to make her feel bad. Not to make myself feel better. Just to bury the lie completely. No denials. No gaslighting. No, you're overreacting. She'd posted every nail in her own coffin. All I had to do was press download. The caption read, Long day of pitch sessions. Exhausted but inspired. Grateful for aligned visionaries. I read it twice. Pitch sessions. Aligned visionaries. She made it sound like she was in a tech accelerator, not sipping guava cocktails by an infinity pool. Then I saw the tags. 3 people. All usernames I didn't recognize. At Carlick Strat. At Loom Client Dev. At Real Vista Global. Corporate sounding. High growth energy. But not one had a profile picture that looked real. Generic landscapes. A blurry photo of a conference badge. A beach sunset stock image. Something clicked. I clicked on At Loom Client Dev, supposedly a senior client from California. 15 followers. 3 posts. All from the past week. One post was a quote graphic, Success loves clarity. Another was a res air of her post. The third? A photo of a notepad with Jason's logo in the corner. No company tag. No real comments. The username wasn't connected to LinkedIn, Twitter, or even a business registry. So I messaged it. Hey, my wife said you two were collaborating this week in Maui. Small world. I used to work in corporate partnerships myself. Would love to connect. No reply. I waited. 2 hours later, I got a notification. The account had gone private. The other two she tagged? Same story. One was created just 4 days before she left for the retreat. The other's bio linked to a website that redirected to a blank Wix template. Fake. Fabricated. Her. She hadn't just lied about where she was. She'd gone a step further, built fake professional accounts to dress up the trip. Like a con artist layering just enough dust on the window to make it look lived in. I dug deeper. Searched at Carlick Strat's username across data breach records and cross-platform handles. It came back tied to her alternate Gmail. The same one she used when we booked our last Airbnb under an alias because she didn't want spam on her real account. Same Gmail she used to manage the shared vacation folders. Same one listed as an editor on the influencer NDA she signed with Jason. I opened the fake profile source code. Under metadata? Created from an IP tied to her home Wi-Fi. She didn't just cheat on me. She staged a fake business trip. She made fake clients. Wrote fake comments. Tagged fake accounts. All to protect a lie she wasn't even being paid enough for. She was desperate to make it look legitimate, not because she was hiding from the world, but because she was hiding it from me. I sat there, staring at the screen, realizing she'd built an entire universe just to keep me from asking one simple question. Why would your company send you to Hawaii, alone? And now I had the answer. They didn't. She did. She came home on a Tuesday, hair curled, skin glowing, rolling a new suitcase I hadn't seen before. She wore the look of someone coming back from a retreat, not a conference. A woman who'd been pampered, not pitched to. I opened the door and stepped aside. Hey babe, she said, breezing past like we hadn't gone 6 days without a phone call that lasted longer than 30 seconds. She dropped the suitcase in the hallway. Flight was brutal. I need a shower and about 12 hours of sleep. Sure, I said. But first, something quick. I walked into the living room and grabbed the remote. She didn't follow. What's up? Just want your opinion on something, I said, flicking open the screen share menu. She rounded the corner just as I selected the file. BalconyReflected.mov. The screen lit up. There she was, in her own Instagram story. Yoga mat. Ocean in the background. Hair pulled into a messy bun. And behind her? Jason. Shirtless. Coffee in hand. Mug from the resort cafe. Mouth pressed to her ear. She froze mid-step. Didn't sit. Didn't speak. I paused the video. You posted it, I said, calmly. You just didn't see what was behind you. Still nothing. Just her jaw tightening. Eyes fixed on the screen like if she blinked, he'd disappear. I stood. You know what's wild? I said. I didn't even have to dig. You documented all of it. You tagged his company, your fake clients, your location. Hell, you even recorded the sound of his voice in the background on accident. She swallowed. Hard. It wasn't what it looked like. That sentence never ends well, I said. Try again. We weren't. I mean, not like that. He's a colleague. It was part of the program. So the NDA you signed to represent his product line, that's part of your job now? I was exploring opportunities. On our dime. With a man you were holding hands within a wineglass reflection. She opened her mouth, then shut it. I walked over and handed her a folder. Inside. Screenshots. Tag metadata. Signed documents. Alternate account tracebacks. A copy of the fake client profile page, IP address included. You didn't just cheat, I said. You produced it. Directed it. Gave it branding. You went through my files? I followed the trail you left in broad daylight. She stepped back, finally sitting. Hands trembling. Voice flat. What are you going to do? I looked her dead in the eye. Haven't decided yet. But it starts with not believing a word that comes out of your mouth. She sat there in silence for maybe a full minute. The open folder balanced on her lap like it might catch fire if she moved too fast. Then finally, you were tracking me? You were performing, I replied. I just watched the show. She stared down at the screenshots again. Metadata. Login logs. Side-by-side photos. The whole curated fiction she built collapsed on paper. This is obsessive. You could have just asked me. You'd already answered. Just not out loud. She bit her lip. Crossed her arms. Look, I made some bad calls. I didn't mean for it to get complicated. It wasn't complicated, I said. You planned it. You booked it under the company card. You forged fake accounts. You pitched his brand like it was your exit strategy. Her voice sharpened. It wasn't about him. Not really. I just needed space. You got space. Maui, oceanfront, infinity pool. And while you were drinking smoothies and selling lies, I was the one still believing there was something real between us. She stood. Don't make this about your pride. That was it. The sentence. The kill shot. Don't make this about your pride. Like this wasn't betrayal. Like this wasn't two-faced and strategic and slow-burn cruel. Like I was the problem for having the nerve to notice. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, drank it. Not because I needed it, but because I needed the pause. When I came back, she was still standing there, arms folded, like this was some petty argument she could ride out. You know what I think? I said finally. I think you didn't expect to get caught. Not because you were careful, because you thought I was too soft to look. She didn't speak. You got used to lying in easy sentences. That's why they're falling apart now. Still nothing. So let me make this simple. I'm not interested in hearing the parts you edited for me. I'm interested in the truth you gave him. Her shoulders dropped slightly. And if I told you it meant nothing, then I'd know you're still lying. She stepped out of the room. No apology. No begging. Just silence, her heels clicking across the floor like the end credits of a movie that should have ended years ago. I didn't follow. Because I wasn't trying to win her back. I was giving her the space she said she needed. So I could walk through it and lock the door behind me. She didn't sleep in the bedroom that night. Didn't try to explain further. Didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't play the part. Just took her phone, locked herself in the guest room, and shut the door like it was the end of a casual disagreement. Like she'd come out in the morning, make coffee, and the Hawaii trip would somehow fade behind a fog of old routines. But I wasn't built for pretending. The next morning, while she was still holed up on her phone, I was already at the bank. I started with the accounts. Split the joint savings. Cut off the shared cards. Logged in. Changed every password tied to my name. Not because she was reckless, but because she was calculating. She'd already used our shared funds to fly to paradise. I wasn't going to bankroll the damage control. Then I called the credit card company and flagged 2 of the charges she made while in Hawaii, one for a business dinner, the other for transportation. Both traced to her boyfriend's retreat. Both disputed. Next was the apartment. Lease in both our names, but most of the deposit came from me. So I called the landlord and asked the question no one wants to ask. What does it take to get someone off the lease early? Turns out, not much. Just a notarized letter and a quiet signature. I drafted both that afternoon. That night, she emerged. Barefoot. Tired. Like someone who'd stayed up reading every message I hadn't sent her. We should talk, she said. We did, I replied. You're throwing this away over one mistake? No, I said. I'm walking away from a series of rehearsed decisions you kept calling mistakes. You're being cruel. You're being vague. There's a difference. She stepped closer, lowered her voice. I know I messed up. I do. But we've built a life. A real one. You're not really going to let him burn it down? I handed her the folder I'd prepped. Inside. A notarized lease release. A formal separation agreement. A breakdown of the shared account split. A printed log of her Instagram post with timestamps. And at the very top, a handwritten note. You build a lie. I'm just stepping off the set. She held the folder like it might burn her. You're not even open to talking? You didn't leave room for that when you lied to my face and tagged your boyfriend's company. She tried one more move. 3 days later, I got a text. Keep this private, and I'll stay quiet about your surveillance obsession. No one needs to know how deep you went. I screenshotted it. Saved it. Forwarded it to my lawyer. Then I posted one photo. Just one. Her story. From day 2. Her sunglasses on. Jason in the reflection. Clear as daylight. No caption. No hashtags. Just the raw clip in the geotag she forgot to scrub. It spread fast. Turns out, Elevate Plus Hydration doesn't like negative press tied to infidelity. Especially not when investors are watching. Jason locked his account. She deleted hers. I turned off notifications and went for a walk. Didn't check my phone for hours. Because that was the difference between us. She curated. I just showed the truth. The day she moved out, she didn't say goodbye. She didn't ask for one last talk. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. She just packed the things I hadn't already boxed, kept her eyes low, and walked out the front door like someone who knew the damage was permanent. And I didn't stop her. I didn't offer help. I didn't ask where she was going. Because I already knew this wasn't about distance, it was about damage control. Jason disappeared even faster. His company dropped 3 sponsors within a week. A wellness podcast he co-hosted replaced him without an announcement. His business email started bouncing back auto-replies. I watched it all unfold from a distance. Didn't gloat. Didn't feed it. I just watched. I stayed in the apartment for a while. Not because I needed to, but because I wanted to stand in the same space where the lie had grown and refused to let it own me. I repainted the walls. Sold every piece of furniture she ever picked out. Donated the wine glasses, every last one. And when it was time, I left too. I didn't rebuild overnight. Didn't post some cheesy healing journey or pretend like betrayal makes you stronger just by surviving it. What I did do, I learned how to live without looking over my shoulder. I learned how to listen for silence that isn't suspicious. I learned that closure isn't a door slamming, it's a decision. To stop chasing truth from people who trade in fiction. Last month, I saw her name pop up on LinkedIn. New branding. New city. Same face, different bio. She'd shifted the narrative, of course. Painted herself as an empathy-forward strategist helping brands rebuild trust. I closed the page. Didn't save the link. Didn't take a screenshot. Didn't feel a thing. Because the truth is, when someone shows you who they are in high definition, you don't need the replay. I never posted a takedown. Never gave interviews. Never responded when mutuals reached out asking what really happened. I let her tell whatever story helped her sleep. Because the difference between her and me? She needed an audience. I just needed out.